That means you never go from this world as a bankrupt person. Rich in a merits bank, you have deposited. So when you go there, the duration increase the interest of the fixed deposit of the merits. Those who work in the bank can understand this. See, how do you get interest from your merit banks? Just now I told you. The more you think about your merits that you have done, the more you gain happiness. You increase the merit. That means interest. Later, double interest. Always think all the good deeds that you have done during your life. Happiness that you gain, especially in the end of our life, when you are going to die. These things give a lot of confidence, satisfaction. Forget all the worries about this world. See, the way how we can maintain happiness while we are living. Then the second step, happiness hereafter, after our death. We know this is not the end of our life. Even without depending on any religion, today many people have realized that it is true. This is not the end. So definitely the continuity, the life process proceed. So if that's so, then we have to act wisely by knowing this situation, not to suffer in the next birth. Merits are important, but we should not be crazy for that. If you develop this crazy attitude to enjoy our life in the next world, we must have some merit, you become very selfish. Naturally you gain this. This is the nature of merit. So you can aspire, gain more extra things which are very useful to serve others also through your merits, such as energy, knowledge, wisdom, intelligence, authority, not for your own benefit, not for you to enjoy worldly pleasures, but by using all these energies, you can do wonderful service to others. There are many who are doing this. Through this merit, you can gain more. Assume you had the chance to be born in a very rich family who got more than enough, but the owners of this family, or the father and mothers, are very stingy. They never contribute anything for the welfare of others. But you were born in that family, and you are very understanding and kind and generous, and you know how to make use of this. You use that the power of marriage to make use of this to serve others. So when you study certain previous birth stories of the Buddha, he was ruling as kings on many that means during the previous births. After ruling, having seen a lot of property collected by his father, grandfather, great-grandfather, the other kings, treasure, valuable thing, then he started to think, millions of people are starving, suffering in this country, without food, without clothing, without this and that. Why should we collect and dump all these things here in the palace? Why not we allow poor people to make use of them? announced and distributed everything amongst the poor people. Asked them to come and share. He did not abuse his merit, his authority to develop this craving and selfishness. Then people respected him more, given him more support. So we can use our merits also to serve others. So the merits are important, but we must know how to utilize. Then we also can experience some sort of contented life without suffering, without grumbling. We can gain more satisfaction than suffering in our next birth. And we also get more chance to do meritorious deeds in the next birth. So we experience that happiness in the next life. Then continue. But that is not the purpose of our life. How long can we continue like this? At any moment, changes can take place. Uncertainty is like that. Today you are very good, very kind, very religious. What guarantee is there that you never change your mind? Circumstances can change your mind. You can become very cruel or very selfish. Changes take place later, not now. Uncertainty of human mind. You can determine, yes, I don't want to do any harm, I do lot of merit, then I will continue. But how long can you continue? It is like that. Today you are healthy, no sicknesses. Then you think, I can continue this. I take more vitamin A, vitamin B, vitamin C, vitamin D, vitamin P, vitamin F, vitamin D and vitamin insect. You take to maintain good health. Not to grow old, but do you think that you can fulfill your wish? Do you think you won't get sicknesses? Exactly like that. Uncertainty is there. So, by realizing this uncertainty in our existence, now we want to gain final or the absolute or unchangeable satisfaction in our life. At the moment we experience little bit of satisfaction, it is momentary, temporary. Next moment, again another problem. So that is called last happiness, unchangeable happiness. That means we stop this existence by realizing you cannot stop this by force. It never works in that way. Unless that realization appear in your mind, you cannot stop this. By realizing, then you have to work for that. After that, no birth, no old age, no sicknesses, no worries, no death. And no fighting, no quarreling, no grumbling, no criticizing, no attacking, no hating, no jealousy, completely free. That is called moksha, nirvana, bliss, happiness. That happiness also we experience by leading a respectable, noble life. Kippahang sulabha cheva tanho padana chedana ye santa nehi na dhamma
Yava Nibbana Tomama. This is our own aspiration. This is not transference of merits or anything. First we started with that item, transference of merits. Now we are going to cultivate certain aspiration or our own wish. After performing any kind of meritorious deeds, it is advisable for us to cultivate certain aspiration. But that aspiration should not be a selfish one. We always make aspirations and wish and hope. But there is some sort of selfishness for our own worldly pleasures, worldly gain. But this is higher, far superior to any kind of worldly gain and pleasures. So when you read this one, you can understand the real meaning. Soon, indeed, may I attain to the good, to the cutting off cravings, attachments, and all that is law in this flux of being, while striving for my deliverance. These words cannot convey the real meaning actually according to our normal way of thinking when we study. So we must understand the real meaning of these wordings. Soon indeed may I attain to the good. So what does it mean? So when we see this verse good, then we think in worldly way. Good means good thing. Good thing means a pleasurable thing. This is the way how we measure everything. Here we are not talking anything about worldly pleasures or worldly or material things. Here the further explanation to the cutting off cravings, attachment. Because attachments we develop through our craving. If there is no craving, no attachment. Then why do we want to cut off our craving or attachment? What is wrong with our craving or attachment? Now take for instance, in your family, you develop your attachment towards your wife, your husband, your children, your property. Is it wrong? Therefore, you must know how to define what is wrong with this attachment. We cannot say it is wrong, but there must be some sort of understanding that definitely this craving or this attachment creates disappointment, unsatisfactoriness, worries, responsibilities, and calamities, jealousy, enmity, misunderstanding, so many things because of that craving. That understanding must be there. But if you know how to handle wisely, you can experience your worldly happiness and your mutual understanding amongst your family members, because human emotion is very delicate. If you try to cut off this human emotion at once, we feel life is very boring, very dull, and very miserable also. So there must be something to console our emotion. And to gain some sort of confidence. Otherwise, we feel loneliness. Yes, there are some people who prefer, who like that way of life. Amongst thousands, there may be one or two. Having seen, realizing the burdens and responsibilities and problems, they decide. Better to live alone. And they experience some sort of calmness, peace in their mind. That is what they need. So when they attain that stage, craving, attachment cannot please them, cannot satisfy them. There will be a day. So before that, you should not misinterpret the teachings of the Buddha, saying the Buddha always advised us to reduce our craving and not to develop our attachment. It doesn't work. And by force, you cannot stop these things, only through understanding. When that understanding appears in the mind, not necessary to force, automatically you take the step. Then you can maintain the same attachments and mutual understanding and cooperations without showing any discriminations or hostility. But at the same time, this understanding must be there. Everything is impermanent. Everything is changeable. Separation is natural. If anything happens, at that time, we must have courage to face. That is what we have to learn. Say, a loving couple developed attachment towards each other, love each other. They have lovely children, develop their attachment. Suddenly, unexpected, unfortunate incident can take place. Then what will happen to you? If you have developed only attachments and craving without proper understanding, you will be in hell at that time. If not, you commit suicide. That is the danger of this craving and attachment. So, in the end, one day, we had to get rid of this if we really want to free ourselves from all these problems. So when such problems and worries appear, you should not grumble. You should not curse. If you have learned these things earlier, then we know how to console ourselves. That knowledge is very important. And all that is low in this flux of being. You know, life, it is in flux, flowing, life process. This is not a ready-made one. Always appear, disappear, appear, change and disappear. This is the nature of existence. No one can stop it. No one can go against this. So what we are doing actually, we are going on supporting to flow life process again and again and again by feeding our craving. When you support our craving, we extend further and further that the life process. If you don't like to do that, then you must have courage not to cry, not to fight, not to worry, not to curse when the troubles and problems and difficulties arise. But how many people can do that? Then you go for asking charms to stop your worries, blessings, bomos, mediums, all sort of people get some sort of consolation. Yes, you may get something temporary, just to patch up here and there for the time being. After that, the same problems, if not worse than that, may appear. That is the truth. While striving for my deliverance, deliverance means freedom from all our physical and mental problems. That is called deliverance. Liberation, freedoms, deliverance, salvations, whatever word we use, the same idea. So, a striving, that shows we won't get this freedom very easily. Some others try to gain this simply by praying or believe something, thinking that they can gain this deliverance or salvation through the influence of some sort of external forces. Buddhism never supports that idea because it is impossible. Now, when we have certain worries and miseries and problems, outsiders can provide certain material thing for us. Money, food, medicines, or can give some advices. Other than that, what can they do? Can they remove your worries straight away from your mind? Again, if you are very selfish by nature, and if you are cruel and cunning, is there anybody in this world who can take away these bad elements from your mind unless you decide to withdraw? There is no God, no Buddha who can take away this thing from your mind. So, let us take the Buddha's cousin brother, Devadatta. He was a monk who developed meditation, gained some sort of jhanic power, worldly power through meditation. The Buddha could not control him. There is no method to control if he is not willing to listen. Take another example. Somebody is suffering from a very serious sickness. And all the organs and glands and heart and blood circulation, brain cells, all these things are dying, slowly dying. At that time, we invite one of the best specialists in this world to come and attend to this person. Right. He may give some injections or pills or drugs, first class, very expensive. If the receptive power is weakened in the body, that medicine doesn't work, cannot do anything, because the physical body cannot absorb this medicine. So that doctor also cannot cure this sickness. So in the same manner, if the person is not ready to listen or to practice, outsiders cannot do anything by force. That is why here we use the word, while striving, that we had to work hard. It is not so easy. And sayings of the Buddha regarding this, I think you can remember. Tumhehi kiccang atappang akkhataro tathagata. Tathagata means Buddha. The Buddhas can tell you what to do. He cannot do for you. So your duty is tumhehi kiccang atappang. You have to work for that according to the advice, the guidance given by the Buddha. Otherwise you can go and ask everything from the Buddha or God or from anybody else. It is impossible. They can guide you. So if you are not ready to adapt your way of life, to change your attitude if you are wrong, you won't gain anything. So don't depend on others for your salvation. You can depend on everything in this world, worldly things. Here we are not talking about worldly things. This is final liberation, our salvation, freedom from suffering. We cannot gain from another person. We have to work for that. So the method is there. This is the aspiration. May I get the chance to find out my final liberation, where we can experience complete freedom, happiness, peace in our mind. Next one, number 6. Nassantu sabbada yeva yattha jato bhave bhave ujucitto sati panyo sallekho viriya vamina. May such will everywhere be destroyed as one reappears, existence after existence. May there be the upright mind, thoughtful wisdom, purity and energy. These are the things that we need. We have to develop these things. May such veils everywhere be destroyed, because there are hindrances, obstructions on the way. Our temptation become a hindrance for our spiritual development or the purity of the mind. Our emotion or emotional anger or attachment also hinder our spiritual progress. These are the things which obstruct. It is a very big battle, not so easy to achieve. Now let us take the Buddha's life. A person who had been working so hard, life after life, by cultivating all the great virtues, qualities, characteristics and everything, morals and ethics, by reducing all the evil forces one after the other from his mind. Even then, how many times he has made mistake? Because his mind was not completely pure at that time. Now we can say we are good people, yes. When you compare our way of life with others, yes, definitely we are good. Because others are very cruel, very selfish, very dangerous, but we are not that bad. In that sense, yes, we are good. But this goodness that we maintain at the moment is not permanent, changeable. Because you are keeping the roots of all your evils in your mind, submerge. Keep them under control. By using your full effort, you try to cultivate your kindness or honesty, to reduce your selfishness. You had to work for that. But even then, when that mind is stirred through emotion, temptation, and some sort of evil thought, all the hidden evil forces again come up to the surface of the mind. At that time, you feel difficulty of controlling yourself. You forget yourself. You forget your gentleness. You forget your religion. You forget your culture. You forget your education. Everything you forget. Then, the mind is completely act in such a way without using any sense of reasoning. Then some sort of insanity prevail in that mind. At that time you become very cruel, very violent, harmful. Later you regret. You realize, oh, I have been working for a long time to be good, not to harm others, not to disturb others. Even then, I could not control myself. That is why we can maintain or we can remain as good people when others are good. because there is nobody to disturb us. When others are not good, then you also become bad. And you say, how to practice tolerance, patience, kindness, people come and disturb us, then you also follow them. You also become cruel and wicked. This is the problem. You say religion always teaches, be kind, be honest, have patience. Yes. When we practice all these things, others take the advantage to bully us and regard us as fools. Therefore we also must follow them, their way of life. This is the problem in this world today. In fact, in this world today, honest people have no place in the society. They are regarded either as mad people or real fools. There must be some sort of crookedness, cunningness, selfishness, regarded as clever people. See how clever they are. They are doing very well, progressing very well. What is the method they have adopted? All unreasonable, unjustifiable method. Then others think, you see, those people, now they are enjoying their life, they are progressing, they are so rich. And we try to be good, kind, honest and this and that, nothing. This is the problem. That is why, it is very difficult. So even in the case of the Buddha, happened to make mistake, and rebirth also has taken animal forms on many occasions. But again, he had the chance to come back because he has cultivated more virtues. That is only temporary. In our case also, we may make mistake. But we should not give up hope. We have chances. By realizing, if you can understand you have done a mistake, there is a chance for you. But many people are not ready to admit that their attitude is wrong. So it is a big battle. And we cannot jump at once. We have to develop all the good virtues, good qualities, step by step. But all the bad deeds, bad things, we can do within one day. And not necessary to learn how to do bad things. Good things we have to learn and think and use our full effort. So we are trying to swim against the current of a river. It's very difficult to swim against the current, but you can follow the current very easily. No need to swim, just like that, automatically. So the worldly condition, the nature of the world is such. You can learn all the evil things very easily. Take small children. Purposely nobody teach them. Parents beat them, threaten them not to go and learn all these evil things, not to utter such words, not to behave like this, but automatically they learn all these things. But to teach them good things, you have to send them to school, you have to give them private tuition, again you have to advise them, and you have to beat them also. Still they cannot learn. The reason is this. This is not the end or the beginning of our life. During so many previous birth, life after life, we have used our mind to do more evil things than good things. Now that is the reason. Occasionally we have done some good, meritorious deed. Then we had the chance to be born as human beings. Now that is a good opportunity. If we miss this, it is very difficult to get back this human life. Again, we have to struggle. It is like this. Now if you want to climb the top of a very big rock or the mountain, say Himalayan mountain, how many days or how many weeks or how many months you have to struggle to climb to the top of this mountain. You are at the risk of your life. On the way, there will be a lot of obstruction. But after reaching there, if you neglect your step, 1 second is enough for you to come down. No need to struggle. And this is the nature of the world. So very, very difficult for us to cultivate virtues and the good way of life. And very, very easy for us to do evil things. So religion is to guide us and to introduce a method how to do this. But all the other religions say, don't worry, you must believe in God, you must pray to God, He will look after you, He bless you, He save you. That is enough. Of course they too have some morals and ethics. Even those who have no religions also have these qualities. But the Buddha did not agree with this. He said it is impossible for us to gain this final salvation from another person. You have to work for that. Since you do not know how to do and what to do, then the Buddha has given proper guidelines. These are the things that you have to keep away, and these are the things you have to practice. That is called middle path, without depending on anybody. So, as one reappears, existence after existence, that means life after life, repeated birth and death. Death, now we are existing. Existing means going on changing. This is called existence. Then one day, there will be an end to all these changes. That is called death. And that death is the beginning of another life. So that is not the end. Existence of another life related to our previous birth depend on our thoughts, words and actions that we have accumulated throughout our life, responsible for molding that next appearance or existence. There is nobody else to form or to create that life. The formation takes place according to our way of thinking, knowledge, wisdom, the qualities of the mind. Ingredients remain here in the mind. Then appear again. Then we have to start a new life from the very beginning. Then start a big battle for our survival, for our living, for our pleasure, for our needs. In the end, we have to face the same thing. So there is no end to it. But we cannot understand this. We know how to grumble, how to cry, how to fight when there are problems. We know how to laugh, how to enjoy when things are favorable. When changes take place, we do not know what to do. That is the time you decide to go and pray. But that is not enough. So learning means the realizations of this process of our life. That is why Buddhism says existence again and again and again is very uncertain. Uncertain means we do not know in which form, in which way, whether it will become a miserable one or pleasurable one or peaceful one, nobody knows. But our minds are responsible for that. Now if we behave just like animals, simply by find some food for us to eat, or shelter, or clothing, and a little bit of pleasure, we never realize the real nature or the purpose of this life. Just like those animals. Then it is very easy for such people to have another rebirth in animal forms, because they have not given due place or due credit to human intelligence. In other words, they did not use human intelligence. They abuse human intelligence. Then fall down again. This is the uncertainty of our life. If not, now we need some merits. Meritorious deeds we perform by thinking to have a better rebirth, not to suffer, but to have a very peaceful, pleasurable life. Right? No harm. You gain it. Definitely you gain it. After gaining that, if you satisfy, oh, this is enough for me, nothing more for me to do. Again, your life become a failure, because there you spent everything what you have accumulated here as your pleasure. then what would be the destiny, fate of your life after that? Nobody knows. This is the danger. That is why Buddhism does not concentrate this heavenly life as the most important aim of our life. We experience, we can gain, but we should not satisfy, thinking this is the final goal. We do not know changes can take place again. So by knowing this situation very clearly, the Buddha has given this advice. You should not satisfy after gaining this pleasure in this world or in heaven or in somewhere else, but still you are subject to worldly condition. You are within this cycle of birth and death. So as long as you remain within this cycle, life is uncertain, changes can take place at any time. Then may there be upright mind. We have our mind. I don't know whether upright or downwards, in which way we are using it. Upwards or downwards. Here upright means all the virtues and the qualities and the cultivations and the development of the mind at the moment, mind is very heavy. Therefore we cannot go upward. Very heavy. How many things are there? We haven't got even enough words in our vocabulary to explain what sort of things are there in our mind. So heavy. The development or the cultivations of mind means when you go on reducing all the evil forces from the mind, then it's called upright mind. Purity, understanding remains at that moment, but not now. That is not enough. We have to cultivate certain good qualities also in that mind. Now, mind is usable for good purpose, cannot misuse. Now you know very well, the Buddhas or Arahantas or Pacceka Buddhas or certain saints who attained Sotapanna, Sakadagami, Anagami and Arahanta never commit evil deeds. It is impossible for them to do that. Why? They have uprooted or eradicated many of those evil thoughts, evil forces from their mind. They never appear in their mind. Then how to do bad things? Sotapanna may commit certain evil. Then after Sakadagami, Anagami, Arahanta, free from all the evil deed. They have no craving, selfishness in their mind. Then they cannot do any evil thing. Since we have not attained such higher stage, by knowing the nature of our mind, we must try our best to maintain, if not at least to behave as real human beings, because they have some humane qualities, virtues. After that you can develop further. Then very easy. Just now I told you, we cannot do all these things within one lifetime. If we have not done this earlier, during our previous birth. So we suffer due to our own mistake that we have done. We experience pleasure and happiness also due to certain good things that we have done. So father and mother are not responsible for this. So even then, sufferings and grief naturally exist. But we can suppress them, overcome them, after that destroy them by cultivating this method introduced by the Buddha. Then, for reaching the right path, as I mentioned earlier, many people have not realized which is the correct path or what is the correct method we have to practice in order to gain this. And this is harmless, and there is nothing for you to spend for this, not even 1 cent. But you are willing to spend even few millions of dollars to get rid of your problem. If you practice this, you have nothing to spend. Then what is the correct path? Develop your mindfulness. That's all. So when you develop your mindfulness, all the other methods introduced in our religion, automatically we practice. Right? 8 noble paths, 5 precepts, 8 precepts, all the morals and ethics and good conduct and behavior, everything are there when the mindfulness is there.